Beautiful souls, how are you? This is my first movie explanation. I will be explaining in three different languages: English, Hindi, and Nepali. So I'm starting with English. So this movie has its three parts. All three parts are amazing. Fifth Street Part 1 1994 is a 2021 American slasher film based on the book series named R.L. Stine. I must say everyone knows R.L. Stine. Before getting into the movie, I will make you familiar with some important characters. First, let's see Sarah Fear. She is considered as a witch in whole movie. Dina, her name is Dina, and Sam, her name is Sam, and Sam and Dina are in relationship. Nick Gude, also known as Sheriff Gude. Sheriff Gude, also known as a police officer. And Kate and Simon, they are good friends of Dina. Josh is a brother of Dina, and we'll see C. Bourbon, Ruvilan, Ryan, C. Bourbon, Heather. In this movie, at first, we'll see a girl named Heather Atkinson. She is an employee at a bookstore at a place called Sadie. There was a boy named Ryan who used to work here with her. They used to be good friends of each other. Ryan was about to give lift after they were, but he hears an unpleasant sound like someone is calling him. On the other side, Heather felt something paranormal activities like books were falling by their own. Then a masked killer attacks Heather. Heather starts running and she was giving her best to escape or hide from that masked killer. But while running, that masked killer stabs Heather. Before dying, Heather takes off the mask of killer. The killer was none other than Ryan. At first, Ryan had shown no indication that he planned on killing her. But at that moment, Sheriff Gude shoots Ryan and kills him at the spot. Then we'll see film's intro. And while reading that intro, we'll get to know that Ryan has killed 7 people at that time. And Sadie Place is considered as the murder capital of United States because this type of brutal incidents was happening each year. And most of the people thinks that in this city, Sarah Fear named Witch used to live, and she was hanged to death in 1666. Meanwhile, neighboring town of Sunnyvale, considered one of the richest and safest cities in the country. Then the story shifts to the girl named Dina Johnson. She does not believe in the fear witch and has recently broken up with her closest girlfriend Sam, who had since moved to the Sunnyvale. Meanwhile, her brother Joe spends his time researching the town's history, and he used to talk every time with a person named Queen of Air and Darkness. Josh and Dina, they were the resident of Sadie. Josh was disturbed because of the recent killing incident in his town. Josh was pretty sure about the fact that this incident was happening because of witch Sarah Fear, and he has researched about this topic. Then we'll get to know this type of incident was not new in that place. Similar incident was happened in 1953, 1965, 1978, and more on. After that, Dina meets her friend Kate and Simon in a school. We get to know Kate and Simon were involved in drug dealing. And we will see Sadie teenagers who were so insensitive that they were not affected by the death of Feather, because they were just used to it. Then we'll get to know that Sunnyside team and Sunnyvale team are having football competition. That's why school team and cheerleading groups went to Sunnyvale. As you know, Sunnyvale was a beautiful place. That's why people living in Sunnyvale does not like the people of Sunnyside. In Sunnyvale, Dina found her girlfriend with a guy named Peter. Then we'll get to know that Dina and Sam separated because Sam moved on to the Sunnyvale from Sunnyside because of her parents' divorce. During a speech, Sunnyvale town students fights with Sunnyside town students. After this fight, Kate became so angry. Sunnyside students were going back in their bus, but from Sunnyvale, Peter with his girlfriend Sam and his one friend starts following their bus. He starts throwing bottle. Kate again becomes so angry. Then Kate and Dina throws a cooler in their car. Because of that, the car lost their control and their car moves off the road. While this incident was happening, we will notice that Dina is bleeding through her nose. After that, bus stops and they see the car. In this incident, nobody was seriously injured, but Sam was also bleeding from her nose. And right that moment, Sam gets a short vision of Witch, but Sam ignores him. Dina was feeling guilty because of what she did. That's why she goes to console Sam, but Peter frightens her. After some time, police arrives there, but nobody says what happened to the police. After the things get sorted out, we'll see an unusual and unknowing sound coming in that accident spot. After this incident, Dina calls Sam to know about her condition. But Sam's mom picks up her call and scolds her, saying not to call again. After that, Dina's home doorbell rings, and when she opens the door, she finds a masked person in a yard with his knife. Dina assumes he might be Peter, who came again to scare her. That's why she called Kate and says everything. Kate and Simon were doing babysitting of twins at one home. But right at the moment, one window glass breaks, and Kate and Simon were also able to see a masked person in their house. That's why they sent those children to their neighbor and they went to meet Dina. Dina decides to go to hospital and she wanted to confront Peter about this behavior. Along with Kate, Simon and Josh, they all went to hospital. When Dina meets Sam and Peter at hospital, Sam says Peter didn't went out of the hospital and she shouts at them. Right at the moment, the masked person also arrives in the hospital and stabs a knife to the Peter from his back. Sam and Dina start escaping from there. Masked person also kills a nurse and starts following Sam. While this incident was happening, the mask of that killer removes, and we will get to know who is that killer. The killer was none other than Ryan again, who were killed at the beginning by the police. But he was alive. As we can see, Ryan was possessed or supernatural power were controlling him. In fact, the bullet that was fired in his head symbol was also there. Sam, Dina, Kate, Simon and Josh takes the hospital ambulance and went out from that hospital. But they already knew that masked person was following them. That's why they went to police station where Sheriff Goody, also known as Nick Goody, has arrested Martin, and Martin was confronting that it was not done by him. Dina, Sam, Kate, Simon and Josh arrives and explain what happened in the hospital, but nobody believes. Still, Sheriff Goody went to hospital to see the situation of hospital, while Simon went out to pee, but he found a lone girl singing old song outside the police station. When he goes near to that girl starts attacking Simon with razor blade. Before she could kill him, Dina shoots that girl with a pistol that she took from police station. The girl who was shot by Dina was healed automatically. After that, they went back to their home. Simon was freaked out and he was explaining what exactly happened to him. After listening to his explanation, Josh became shocked that he brought Ruby Lane newspaper and he asks Simon, "Does that girl look like her?" Simon says yes. Then, as we know, Josh was researched a lot about Sadicide incident, so he starts explaining. He says Ruby Lane was a teenager who murdered his friend and boyfriend and slashed her own hand and died. In 1978, a psycho killer killed many people in Camp 19. In 1950, a Harry Hooker killed many housewives. In 1935, Humpty Dumpty killer case. In 1922, Billy Bulwer case. In 1904, Clifford Gott's Gall case. 1666, Cyrus Miller case, and he was a pastor. They all were normal before, but they were changed suddenly. Josh was saying the exact witch theory because Kate was known about 1978 case because her relative murdered in that incident. This all was started from 1666. In 1666, the first case was of Pastor Cyrus Miller, who used to kill the children and he used to take off their eyes. Coincidentally, Sarah Fier was also hanged to death in 1666 because she was considered as a witch. Which again points out this whole incident is happening because of her and she might be taking revenge. And here Simon starts time written on Sarah Fier witch. It's like this. Before the witch's final breath, she found a way to cheat her death. By cutting off her weak hand, she kept her grip upon our land. She reaches from beyond the grave to make good men her wicked slaves. Which means before dying, witch was able to cut her hand and she was able to cheat her death. That's why she is able to control this land. During this time, Sam starts coughing blood and she says when she had a car accident, she got a vision of witch. After listening this, they all starts moving to that incident where they found a chain in land. This chain was tied with a skeleton and there was lock too. In that lock there was name of Sarah Fier. It means Sarah Fier was buried in this place. Her coffin was in that place. In that accident, Sam disturbed the Sarah Fier coffin by dropping the blood. That's why the Sarah Fier controlled killer were attacking her. Again in this spot, Sam again starts bleeding from nose and when she touches the skeleton with her blood, again she gets some vision where witch says it's you. Simon starts covering the grave, thinking if they will make this as it is, then she will not kill them. But at that point of time, Mark's killer attacks Sam. Then again they start escaping from there. After they leave that place in ambulance, they became clear that those killers were only attacking Sam. But the question was, if they wanted only Sam, then why that Mark's killer went to Tina's house and Kate and Simon's house? While Kate was driving the ambulance, she just stops and explains that they traced blood. So during that car accident, Sam's blood was in Simon's t-shirt and Dina's suit. So finally they decide that they will use Sam as a bait to kill all those killers. So first of all they wear new clothes. So using Sam's blood, they make a trap in their school washroom. Smelling the blood, those killers arrive there, and when they enter the washroom, Kate, Dina, Simon and Josh locks the door and they create explosions. All killer explodes into liquid, but those killers starts regenerating again. Again they are all drawn to a room and Kate decides to keep Sam out because they are coming for her. After listening to this, Dina shouts at Kate, but Sam tells them Kate is right. Don't be in trouble because of me, I'm going. After saying that, Sam went out of the door and the killer arrives there to kill her. But at that moment, Joe starts reading an article carefully, where in 1978 a girl named C. Berman was able to survive from this. So there was a solution to escape out this problem. So they found a phone directory and starts a call. Call was in voicemail, that's why they put some message. They found that C. Berman was clinically dead for some minutes. After giving her CPR, she was alive. So that concludes Sam can escape from those killers, but she has to die for a minute. Then we'll see Nick Sheriff Goody, where he puts a message saying it's happening again. So Nick Goody was known about this incident. So again the story shifts and takes us to the same mall where the story begins. Dina, Kate, Sam, Simon and Josh were planning, and Simon says about his brother was going to die but he survived using adrenaline injection. So Simon says Sam to take all the drugs and the safe interval. He gives adrenaline injection to Dina to give injection to Sam in time. So they start preparing the plan into progress. Kate, Simon and Josh puts blood in their body and they start roaming around the mall. They were doing this because to distract killers. Dina gives the drugs to Sam and for some time no one comes there. But after some time, Skeleton Mark's killer attacks her. but Kid arrives there and she burns that killer. That's why that killer starts chasing Kid. So by hook or crook, Sam has to stop her heart to escape from that killer. So Sam says Dina to kill her anyhow by throwing in the water. Dina starts throwing Sam in fish tank, but Skullmark's man stabs a knife at Kate and kills her and take her in a machine where Kate dies horribly. Simon and Josh arrives there and they get shocked, and right at the moment Nightingale Killer also arrives and kills Simon by his axe, and the Skullmark's killer nose starts chasing Josh. Dina was drawing Sam to stop her heart and she was able to do that, and Sam also gets clinically died. Right after that, Killer leaves that place. After that, Dina starts giving adrenaline to Sam. After some time, Sam became alive, and after this incident, later on, Officer Nick Goode, also known as Sheriff Goode, starts an interview with Kid, Sam and Josh, where they again lies to Nick Goode, also known as Sheriff Goode, and again this case ends up saying Kid and Simon were junkie. Dina says always in shady place, blame is given to the wrong people, where there is existence of something supernatural. Marshall asks Josh to give him a pin so he can run away. Josh helps him by giving that pin. While going, Martin gives his card to Josh. Later on at night, Sam and Dina hooks up, and at that night, Dina gets a call from Lady Silverman. Silverman says, "You have only the killer, not the witch." She makes a rule. After some time, Sam heard a whisper, which was a witch voice, and we will get to see a witch glimpse where we will see witch is performing some rituals and which has written the name of possessed people, and in which Sam's name was also added. Sam goes closer to Dina and she stabs Dina from back, where Dina and Sam fights, but Dina was able to lock the door, and we will get to see Sam was already possessed. And after that, Dina shows to Josh what happened to her, and this movie ends at this. And at last we will see the movie next part where Dina and Josh were talking with C. Berman, and C. Berman starts explaining about 1978, which is the second part of the movie. Thank you everyone for listening up to now. Please don't forget to subscribe because I will support my supporters. I will come back. You can see my other video in English and in Hindi too. Thank you everyone.